You are listening to Smart Women's Dating Podcast, episode number 81. Welcome to Smart Women's Dating Podcast. I am your host, certified life coach Lærke Nielsen, and I help smart, independent women attract the love they deeply desire without having to chase or settle. This podcast will give you the mindset tools and insights you need to finally crack the code to your love life. Are you ready? Then let's go! Hey there! This is kind of a tough love episode for those of you who picked up on the feminine energy principles and especially the one about leaning back, and you wonder why it's not working. But it's also really important for those of you who have never heard about leaning back and now you're wondering, what am I talking about? So, leaning back, the principle of letting the man take the lead. Let him invite you and let him follow up after that and invite you to the second date. Why do we even do this? This is because it's the only way you can make sure that a man is really into you and he's not just bored on a Friday night and saying yes to a date because you take the initiative. A man in a healthy masculine energy and who is romantically interested in you, he will want to invite you. And especially if you have a history of always being the driver of the dating connections and always being the one who organizes the dates, only to discover after a couple of months, for instance, that he isn't really that much into you. He just enjoyed being invited by a woman and having someone else take care of things. And now when you step back and let him take the lead, he doesn't really want that. If this has been your experience and you want to connect with another kind of man, you want someone who is excited about you on a consistent basis and who is, from the beginning, capable of suggesting a cafe or bar or restaurant or whatever to go on a date on. Then you want to let go of being the organizer and let him show you his intentions through his actions. And when we look at feminine and masculine energy principles, it is the masculine that is the action taker. It is the masculine energy that's forward leaning, where the feminine is receptive and leaning back. So if you want to attract someone who is in a masculine energy and who is an action taker, you've got to stop being that yourself, because you won't attract masculine if you yourself are in your masculine energy. So those are the reasons why leaning back is advised. And I would say let the guy invite you on the first 3 dates at least. But, and this is very important, I always try to be very careful when I present this concept to make sure that it's clear that it comes in a package. You cannot just lean back and act sort of entitled to have him organize all sorts of amazing dates. It doesn't work like that. You have to be a woman that it's fun to invite, a woman that he wants to make an effort for. You have to show him appreciation and gratitude. You have to bring that positive vibe to the date. And this is not about manipulating, but when you meet someone with the purpose of potentially forming a romantic connection, you want to bring your best energy, your most positive and constructive energy to the date. Otherwise, it's just a job interview. You are not looking for an employee and you're not meeting with a friend. You're not having coffee with a distant family member or something like that. You are meeting with a person that you could potentially have as a romantic partner. And it's a different energy than you bring here than in the other cases. And you need to, of course, bring that energy to show that you have the intentions of this potentially developing into a romantic connection. That is not the same as saying you are interested in that with this particular man, and already from the first date, of course, you cannot know that. And it's not to say that you are committing yourself to anything at all with this person. This is actually more a question of you and who you want to be when you go on dates. And I want to invite you to see yourself as a woman who's bringing her most positive, feminine, and romantic vibe when she goes on a date, in general, with all kinds of men. And this actually will begin already in the app. You want to show him appreciation and sort of invite him to invite you. And you want to give him compliments already in the app, because why not? If you can't find anything to compliment, you can ask yourself, why are you even interested in going on a date with him? Giving a guy a compliment doesn't mean that you want to be his girlfriend or wife. It just means that you are able to find something positive to say about him. And then when he invites you and suggests a place to go, you want to be open to that. Do not try to change the date. Do not tell him, oh, I know a better place, or I don't really want to go there, but what about over here? Unless, of course, there's a really valid reason. But the fact that you just prefer to go somewhere else or you know a better place, that is not a valid reason. A valid reason could be, this is 1.5 hours drive from my place, or I'm a vegetarian and this is a steakhouse, for instance. Not, I know a better place. Now, this could be okay to say when you've known him for a while, but in the beginning, you don't want to be this woman who doesn't accept his ideas. And you have to remember also, you are not there for the restaurant, right? You are there to connect with the guy. You are there to get to know him. It's not that important if it's one or the other place. The thing is that the moment you don't accept his invitation or you tell him you have a better idea, you are sort of giving him a micro-rejection. And in a way, on a subconscious level, you are indicating here that he cannot succeed with you, that you always have a better idea, that it can never be good enough for you because you always have another suggestion. This is a bit exaggerated, of course, but I want you to see the idea. I want you to see the principle. You are rejecting him if you don't accept his suggestions. So you want to try to accept his ideas unless you have a really good reason for not doing that. And then when you are on the date, you want to bring your most positive feminine energy. So on the date, you want to smile, you want to be present, you want to show your interest in him. And I'm not saying here that it's got to be all about him, but this is where the woman can take lead in the emotional connection. Sometimes you got to be the one who goes first in order to have a similar response from him. So let him try to impress you. Let him talk about all his achievements. This is actually a really good sign if he does that. Give him compliments on his personality or something he does on the date or the place that he chose, for instance. And don't be afraid of boosting his confidence. Don't tell yourself that he has to earn a compliment and he has to do something special to deserve it. You can be a woman who can always find something to compliment with a man and when you are on a date with him. And then tell him how much you appreciate that he took the initiative to organize this date. You want to make him feel not just good, but amazing. If he experiences that you are a woman who sees his qualities, you might even see something in him that other women don't, and you are worth making an effort for because you're open to his suggestions and you're appreciating his initiative, then he will feel much more motivated to invite you again. And this is not about coming up with compliments that you don't actually believe. It's not about being fake. This is about cultivating that side of you that you might not use so much because we've all gotten used to take care of everything ourselves and not giving or receiving compliments. For some reason, this is something that many people do not have as an integrated part of their life, to give compliments. And so what I want to invite you to do is actually just practice that skill. Cultivate it within yourself. Notice what there is to compliment and then communicate it. You don't give anything away by doing that. You don't agree to go further by doing that. You just show him that you're a woman who is capable of noticing things that she likes in him, and you can communicate that. If you're unsure how to do that, you can start practicing with friends and colleagues. Decide to give at least 3 compliments per day. So, if you're wondering why someone isn't inviting you for a second or third date, you want to, of course, first of all, remember that not everyone is going to be a good match for you. And if they withdraw themselves, they might actually be doing you a favor. They're not going to be a good match long term anyway. But if you see this happening often, and even when you felt there was a good connection and there was a good vibe on the date, then you just want to check in with yourself to see if you might be unintentionally signaling that you were not that interested in the guy, even if you were. And also, you just want to make sure for your own sake that you show up in the energy that you want to. So, here's what you can ask yourself. Am I a woman that is fun to invite out? Do I say yes and with joy and without trying to change everything he suggests? Do I show him that I appreciate his initiative? Am I someone who is fun to make an effort for? Do I appreciate it and do I make him feel that it's worth it? What is the version of me who is inspiring to invite out? And again, this is not about trying to manipulate. It's about bringing your best vibe to a date, as this shows your part of the commitment to making it a good date. It shows your willingness in taking part of the responsibility of having a great experience. So, especially when you want to lean back and let him come towards you, this is important. And also, it's important for me to say that all this doesn't prevent you from asking all the important questions. It's not like you're just supposed to be sweet and give him compliments all the time. That is not how it works. You want to still be someone who can ask challenging questions, who can make him think, for instance, about what kind of relationship he's looking for, what kind of woman he's looking for. And you are, of course, supposed to share what you see in your vision for a relationship and what your standards are at the same time. So it's not just about being sweet and nice, but it's a really important part of this whole feminine energy. This is something you want to practice, and it's not only for him, it's also just to create a better experience with your dates. When you master the art of feminine softness or sweetness, you could call it, which is basically just being a nice person to go out with, someone who appreciates an initiative, someone where he doesn't feel like he's a business partner or a colleague, but he is a person who has a romantic potential in your eyes. Then you can basically always have a man invite you out to the next date. And he's going to really want to step up with you because he knows he can win with you. He knows he can succeed with you when he invites you somewhere, and you are going to be open and positive and not make him feel like what he suggested isn't good enough. Now, inside my program, I give you much more details on how to give compliments and how to inspire a man to take initiative, how to create a deeper emotional connection and attraction, how to flirt with him, and how to make him even more interested in you when you feel that this could be the right match for you. But to get all this knowledge, you need to be working with me, of course. And that's something you can explore by booking a free consult call on the link in the show notes or on my Instagram bio at Lærke the Love Coach. I hope this was useful, and I hope you want to go out and try this on your dates and let me know how it goes. Send me a DM on Instagram. I would love to hear from you. I'll be back again next week, and in the meantime, enjoy your dating. If you like what you're hearing on this podcast and you want to get support from a coach on your love journey, I invite you to book a free consult call with me. You will find the link in the show notes. And also, don't forget to subscribe, and I would love it if you would rate and review this podcast, and then you'll also help other women find it.